Welcome to In Between the Whistles Detroit, your hometown team. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and we will give you the best content anywhere. I guarantee it. We got to talk about the news of the day. The news of the day is Michigan State is becoming something that a lot of people didn't think they would become. I sure in the hell didn't. But what you see with Mel Tucker, I don't think anybody who saw Mel Tucker get hired thought, oh, this is going to be the guy who brings the program from respectability to national prominence. I don't think there was one person. Matter of fact, when you go back and you listen to some people, you listen to what they say. A lot of people wanted the Cincinnati coach, Luke Fickell. Now, bygones be bygones. They're both good head coaches. But if you just think about what Mel Tucker has done in 3 years, we're going on 3 years. You can't count the first year because that was COVID and he couldn't recruit like he is right now. It was a totally different world. So he's technically in year 2. He's going into year 2. The first year removed from COVID, the team is in 3rd place in the Big Ten East. They were not predicted to be that good. They were not predicted to be anywhere that good, and yet here they were. Now you look at this year. Look at this year. Peyton Thorne, Jaden Reed. They have pieces on the offense. They brought in pieces on the defense through the transfer portal, and Amir Speed from Georgia, Brule from Mississippi State, the kid from UNLV who was the Mountain West Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. You have to understand what Mel Tucker is doing at Michigan State is scary for a lot of people. Because you thought when Mark D'Antonio left East Lansing that it was probably the end of Michigan State football. And if you can see, Michigan State football is more with the times than their basketball program. Who would have thought? Michigan State football is 8th in the recruiting rankings. I can't remember a time when they were 8th in the recruiting rankings. And when people say, they just got a bunch of 3 stars, blah, 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 blah. They have 8 4-stars. Okay? Ohio State has 9. And you look at the recruiting rankings, there's only one team that has a 5-star, and it's Notre Dame and Clemson. Michigan State's ahead of Clemson and Georgia for the moment. But when you look at what Mel Tucker is doing in East Lansing, you see what he's building. You see what he has done to this football program since he got in the door. Look at it. Look at it. This guy has came in. He's pushed out the boundaries. Yeah, year 1 with COVID was a little bit lackluster, and he looked really, really bad when he lost the Rutgers in game 1. But ever since then, he's ascended. He got a contract extension because he earned it. Some people say he got overpaid, but when you look at why these recruits went to Michigan State, it was because of the stability of the coaching. That's worth the investment. That's worth the investment. You see what Mel Tucker is doing. He's building a brand of Michigan State. He's trying to promote it, get better. Listen, I've said for years, if you want to become a national prominence type team, down the road in Ann Arbor, they're a national prominent team because they have the brand, they have the history, and they have the tradition. Michigan State does have a good tradition of football. No doubt about it. You look back at the NFL draft streak that they had, amazing. You look back at them breaking segregation for college football, amazing. You look at them winning national championships in so long ago in the 50s and 60s, amazing. When you look at a team trying to become better, you look at the way that Clemson has done it. You look at the way that Cincinnati did it. They came on the scene, they started becoming more and more of a power, and they started making plays for big time recruits. Give all the credit to Mel Tucker. Give every ounce of credit to Mel Tucker. That coaching staff, the fans, the brand. I don't think people realize this right now. But if you look at Michigan State and the way that they're becoming more and more, how would you say it? They're becoming more and more like a national team because what they're doing. They're going and getting kids in Texas. They're going and getting kids in Georgia. They're going and getting kids in Florida. They're not just staying home and saying we're going to get the best Michigan state, the state of Michigan kids. They're going national. You will build the brand of Michigan State football faster like that. And Coach Mel Tucker knows that. He's doing a fantastic job. We are in June, and he's 8th in the recruiting rankings. And I think with some of the visits coming up that he can go higher and higher and higher. This is another step for Michigan State in their quest to become a nationally elite team. Now it's going to be hard because the team that's in Columbus is very, very tough. They are SEC light. You're not gonna beat them much because they're just a different breed down there. I don't care what people say in Ann Arbor. Ohio State is the class of Big Ten by far. By far. You look at next year, you look at the year after, the kids that they have coming in, the kids that they have that are going to come on the scene, that's who you got to get up against. And Mel Tucker said that when he played Ohio State and they got their asses kicked, you know what he said? We got to beat them by recruiting the players that we need. It was nice to have Kenneth Walker. But when you can get guys you recruited to come on the scene, make plays for you, that is huge. That is absolutely huge. And Michigan State is slowly becoming a team that you want to play for. You want to come and play for Coach Mel Tucker because Coach Mel Tucker, say what you want to say. You could be a Michigan fan that's watching this. You could be an Ohio State fan. You can be a Penn State fan. The one thing you can say is you would come play for Mel Tucker. Mel Tucker just shows the swag, the relentlessness that they play with. And I love the quote he gave Colton Pouncey in that athletic article where he said, there is no entitlement. You don't get to say that this is your spot. You compete for your spot. And that's what builds a great program. And I think Mel Tucker, with his coaching lineage, going back to Nick Saban, going back to Kirby Smart, being around those two coaches, that's where it's coming from. You don't think he learned something from being with Nick Saban, being with Kirby Smart, being in the NFL? I'm sure he knows something because half that Georgia roster that won the national championship, he was involved in. Then he went to Colorado. Then he went to Michigan State. But he looks like he has Michigan State trending upwards. And if you're a Michigan State fan, this is probably the best that you can get right now. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see what he does moving forward. Because if you ask me, the sky is a limit with this guy. He's absolutely just killed it. Killed it. And all these people that are saying that, Michigan State, they're third in the Big Ten East. That's what's going to become. I got news for you. The way Michigan State recruits, the way they play, the way that Mel Tucker wants them to play, you got a problem on your hands. You have a problem on your hands. This guy is good. He's really good. And if you want to harpen back to Michigan State with Antonio, I got news for you. You're going to be very, very disappointed by the way Michigan State plays. Because if you've seen them play the last 2 years, they didn't have the most talent. That's easy. What they did have was they worked harder than you. That Michigan game where they came back from that deficit, they just worked harder. They worked harder. They worked harder. They evened the score up, and then they won. That's a mark of a great football team. That's a mark of a football team that's led by a leader, by a coach who doesn't tell his players that they are entitled to the win. He tells them, you are not entitled to the win. You are not entitled to the win. You have to go out there, work your ass off, and be relentless. Like his clipboard says, relentless. Mel Tucker is going to be a problem in the Big Ten East. And if you're not ready for it, get ready for it. Because I'm telling you right now, this guy is just doing great things. And he's going to continue doing great things at Michigan State. This is Between the Whistles, Detroit, your hometown team. Please like and subscribe to get more Michigan State content. We will give you more Michigan State content as we get closer to the season. Obviously, we have basketball coverage too. We will see you in the next video of Between the Whistles, Detroit.